It is episode 2 of the Indulgent Islander Podcast. Tim Wood here with the man, the myth, the legend, Nick D. Simone. We got a different view of the inner sanctum this week, Nick, for those watching on video.
Yeah, we're mixing it up. The office studio now, I guess, if you will, is it's a work in progress. So we're ramping things up in terms of technology, and I figure, little by little, I'll draw the curtain back, as they say, to what it looks like in this room, which is something that I've been compiling for many years. I don't have much wall space or space period left in here, but I've done a
Full
pretty good
on
job
full
filling
on
it out.
man cave mode for those
Yes.
listening. I can tell you it's
Yeah,
pretty
the upstairs
impressive.
man
It
cave,
it
right?
definitely includes a lot of Nick's wrestling memorabilia and influences, but it's pretty impressive. All right,
Thanks, man.
so yeah, absolutely. So first of all, we want to thank everyone. The response to the first episode was, uh to put it lightly, overwhelming. We had 6,000 views on Facebook alone. Another, probably, I would say probably about 10,000 listens overall. So, and just a ton of people. I know, and I know with you too, a ton of people reaching out, excited to see it. And we had a feeling, you had a feeling that this was gonna fill a certain need, and so did I. That's why I wanted to do it with you, because it's people love talking food, and they've got their opinions. And so we've had some progress on the podcast side since the first episode. I want to bring you up to speed there. You may be listening on your favorite podcast listener right now, but we are now available on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio Podcasts, Podbean, and then coming soon, Apple Podcasts. They take forever to verify, but we are in draft form there, so hopefully we'll be up soon there. Um, First week, Nick, sandwiches definitely touched the nerve with folks. I put a poll up on what's happened in Bluffton after we posted the episode. I didn't see a ton of dissension. You know, people seem, it's a can be a popularity contest with the polls, but we also give the means to add some options and bring some other things up. Some folks brought up some hamburgers, which we're going to cover in later episodes. That's why, you don't put it under sandwiches. Some people covered Dominic's, for instance, with cheesesteaks. Can't disagree, but like, again, we're going to cover that in a whole separate episode. Um, the one that really kind of stuck, and I heard a lot, was Alvin Ord's. And we alluded to it. I feel like we did, didn't we? We alluded to it a little bit in terms of where Alvin Ord's didn't fit that mold. But what were your thoughts as you were seeing people talking about Alvin Ord's?
Yeah, before we didn't get into that, I just want to say, just to tag on to what you said, extremely humbled and, overwhelmed by the amount of support that we got with the first podcast. I know that it ran a little long, and I know that, there's not a ton of people that are used to, ingesting this form of media through Facebook. Although I do like the video aspect of it. There's quite a few podcasts that I listen to. Spotify's starting to get more into the video part of things, and there's a lot of them, like a lot of the Barstool content that I prefer to watch on YouTube, and some of my wrestling and other sports things. So really appreciate everyone. I think it was overwhelmingly positive, even though it spurs on conversations, which we absolutely love the discourse. But I just want to thank you again for this opportunity and for allowing me to be exposed to your audience specifically on what's happening in Bluffton. The numbers were staggering, and I think it's a great start. And I'm really excited, where we're going to go from here.
We want to and want to thank everyone that posted it. Honestly, Hilton Head and Bluffton Food Experience. Those guys over there posted it. I mean, that's a to me a perfect fit. And we're really humbled that they posted it there. Um, you know, we tried to share it all over the place beyond what's happening in Bluffton, and y'all definitely took to it. And you mentioned YouTube, Nick. We will get YouTube up and running. Um,
Cool.
because they've got a podcast element, but as you said with the video, you know, you can watch YouTube on your TV. You know, if you got Roku or Chromecast or whatever, you can just download the YouTube app and watch the broadcast right up on your TV. So we will get that going for sure. That's next up on the to-do list.
Awesome. Yeah. So
Yes.
Alvin Ords, just to close the loop on that,
Yeah, yeah.
I really enjoy Alvin Ords. I went there. Um, Actually, I was there a couple months ago for a business meeting, and then not long ago, like several weeks ago, I think I was working from home and I was really busy and I didn't have a chance to cut away. And they're available on, it was either DoorDash or Uber Eats. I think it was DoorDash. And so I ordered, like a muffaletta, and I think I usually like to mix it up and go like with one of the cold ones, and then one of the, I think it might have been like a chicken cordon bleu or something like that that had like a chicken cutlet or whatever. And that's it's just very unique. That round seeded bread that they use is very unique, and it's obviously, I still consider it a sandwich. And it was not a slight meant by any means. It's
Not at
just,
all.
it's different. It's something that I really had never experienced, a sandwich of that type, since I relocated here almost 4 years ago. But it's definitely worth mentioning. I'll own up to probably should have been, on the original list. But the beauty of this is that we're not going to always be able to remember or recall everyone.
Yes.
So that's why, like, we encourage the comments and, suggestions, recommendations, because, again, we're not perfect. We're not going to remember every single establishment in every single category. Some of it is by design because we're going to touch on them on later episodes. But I will say that, I do appreciate everyone's input. And let's just say that, we will be taking notes as we move forward, and we'll make sure that everybody gets the attention that they deserve, because that's why we're here. That's why we're doing this.
The list is fluid. The list is fluid.
Yes.
Um, and we had discussion even before the episode, like Alvin Orts, and it's like it's just so unique. Um, I don't know what the category for them would be. I technically sandwiches, so yes, but and a lot of folks spoke up for them, and God knows I love Corey and the whole crew over there.
Sick.
And yeah, they're amazing. They've been a phenomenal addition to Old Town. So,
I
as
agree.
Nick said, no slight meant whatsoever, nothing but
Not at
love.
all.
And that's the thing is this is all about spreading the love too. So if we miss something the first time, just gives us a chance to mention it the next time, right?
Just like they say,
Um,
Tim, salvation, right? The salvation lies within.
oh
Love that
wow.
from what is that? Cast now Shawshank.
Wow, okay, we nice pull. Nice pull.
Yeah,
Love me
that's
some
a great
Shawshank.
sandwich. I mean,
Abs
that's their flagship, right? The Salvation.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, in terms of you mentioned like things falling in different categories. I think a perfect example of that would be school pizza. Like just as a spoiler, school pizza is not on our list. As much as you love it, I love it, and people love it overall. It's not on our pizza list this week. But there's a reason for that. And because it's going to be on another list. But you had a great event out there this past weekend over at Side Hustle with School Pizza.
Absolutely. So yeah, school pizza. We're just going to qualify it. They're not going to be on this list for a couple of reasons. Like Tim said, we're going to bring them up on another one. We have a specific food truck episode that's coming up. where we'll talk about them. School pizza is only open once a week, and that's part of the lore, part of the legend as it's quickly becoming in Bluffton and Hilton Head. And I got to be honest with you, like when I meet people like someone that I ran into picking up breakfast Sunday morning over at Half Day Cafe, which we'll put that in our pocket. We'll come back to that in a future episode. But I went to pick up breakfast and I got in conversation with a couple that lives over in Beaufort. They might, do business over here and be frequent in the area, but that's Sunday only. I mean, this is a family owned business where they have other jobs and this is the passion of theirs. So, Marno and Marie and family, and their employees, it's a 1 day a week thing. It started as we're doing a bake pre order. Then they started popping up and then it became a more, the word would we're going to be here or there. We're doing pre-orders. We're not doing pre-orders. And then it became a more regular thing, as did Tin and Tallow, by aligning themselves with the breweries, brew pubs, places like Locals Only Tap Room that we talked about, where Shona does a great job getting food trucks running through there. Lot 9 and, Jarvis Creek General Store, all these different places. So we're going to focus on, for the pizza episode, we're going to focus on your traditional, let's call it round pizza. Even though some of these offer some different options, and we're going to come back to them, like we said, on a future one. The event yesterday was, and I have a visual aid here. The event yesterday was a collaboration between School Pizza and Antonio Mancini Albano of AMA Private Dining. Antonio has been in the area for several months now. His private dining business is exploding, and rightfully so. He's incredibly talented. His food is amazing. And so they decided to put their heads together and create a special pie this past Sunday. And I was able to enjoy one. Had a little bit of a snafu with my production, so I don't have the video of me enjoying the pizza, but I'm going to try to post something this week. I think we'll be focused more on what the event that it turned out to be, because start at 3 o'clock and that's when they start taking orders. And I was there a little before 3, and there was a couple people walking up. So, Side Hustle had already been open. A couple people started walking up. Within 10 to 15 minutes of 3 o'clock, there was a line down the sidewalk all the way across the front of Side Hustle. And I will say that line did not subside until probably almost 5 o'clock, where they took a bit of a breather. I mean, they had amped up the operation where they were preparing for this to be their biggest day ever. And there's no question about the fact that it was. Were a couple challenges, wind being one of them. They posted a really funny video. They're really clever and creative with their social media, and they posted a really funny video with some music in the background. A gust of wind came, and they had all the boxes set up on a table under a tent right in front of the truck, and the boxes blew all over the place. At one point, I was rearranging. We had a good chuckle because I was rearranging the letters on the menu board because the letters got all jumbled up. I don't know if it's because the sign fell over, or maybe someone rubbed up against it, or maybe it was a kid just playing around. But the letters were all over the place, so we had to rearrange them. I moved a couple things in the wrong spot, so the prices were inaccurate. We were having a good laugh about that. But this was and this will be my lunch after we wrap up today. This was the special pie
Oh
that
my.
they had on Sunday, which is sweet Italian sausage, um, pickled banana peppers,
Can see that for
and
sure, yeah.
for some fresh basil. And then, really, the kicker was what put it over the top. It's not on here because I knew I was going to have reheat this later on. Um, Antonio created a homemade spicy ranch dressing that he drizzled on the top of the pizza. It flew out of there. Fortunately, like I said, they were prepared. At one point, we had some auxiliary pan of sausage that was brought over. There was, like I said, there were definitely some challenges because of the overwhelming number of people, and there were, I could tell there were some people maybe getting a little frustrated with how long they were waiting. But the one thing that I will say is that whether you're waiting, you know, 20 minutes or 45 minutes to an hour, this pizza is worth the wait. And it's a different style. It's just like we were talking about with Alvin Ords. This is Detroit style pizza.
Yeah.
The Low Country had never really seen Detroit style pizza. The only thing that comes close to it is out in Savannah, Big Bon Bodega, when they started doing square pizza, which now is available, at their locations in Savannah and in Pooler, I believe, around the clock. They ramped up sometime last year to where it used to be bagels until 1 o'clock or until they sell out, and more often than not it would sell out. So really the only thing that comes close to it, I had never had the chance to enjoy Detroit style pizza until I came upon School Pizza. So they're really in a category all to their own. And it's, again, not a slight against any of the places that we're going to talk about, but this is a really unique scenario where they're par baking these pies and preparing the dough, and it really is, it's a process that takes hours, if not days, to get ready and prepare for the volume of people that they're going to be serving on a Sunday, during, whether this was a 3 hour time frame or sometimes, it'll be a 12 to 5 time frame. The people spoke Sunday. We'll just put it to you
Nice.
that way. I mean, it
Yeah.
was slammed from beginning. I left at about 5:30, quarter to 6, and there was still people coming to get their pizza. So kudos to School Pizza. Kudos to AMA Private Dining. I think you're going to see a lot more from Antonio over the coming months. We have a couple of joint collaborative projects that we're going to be working on. I'll share those as soon as possible. And kudos, shout out to Side Hustle as well. They've really done an incredible job. I got to talk to LJ for a couple of minutes while I was there, and it's only going to get better from here. They have
Oh yeah.
the additional indoor space that they're going to be taking advantage of. He did give me a little bit of a heads up, which I mentioned on Facebook. They're going to be, I think, might have mentioned on Instagram as well. They're going to be School Pizza will be there Super Bowl Sunday in a couple of weeks, and
Yes.
because of the fact that the game, of course, doesn't start until what is it,
Six
6 7
thirty.
o'clock? Yeah.
Yeah.
If that were the case Sunday, the pizza would be gone before the game even started. So they are going to have Low Country Lobster there as well. Sounds like a pretty cool combo for
Oh
Super Bowl
yeah.
Sunday to get some school pizza as well as some lobster rolls and lobster mac and cheese and all the good stuff that Low Country Lobster offers. So it was really a
Absolutely.
spectacular day, and kudos to them for putting on an unbelievable showing on a Sunday, on a chilly Sunday afternoon. Although it was sort of the last warmer day, at least warmer than what we're getting the
Oh
rest of
boy.
this week. So yeah.
So, want to mention a couple things quick here. Got a bunch of comments and DMs and texts just about Southern Spice, and it's one of those that even a lot of folks that consider themselves foodies around here hadn't heard about. Wanted to give just a shout out to you for bringing it to their attention. A couple folks went for breakfast, a couple folks went for lunch,
Oh, cool.
and were just huge, like eye opener. So kudos to you for that. Uh
Thanks.
Also had a
Glad to
bunch
hear.
of
Glad to hear.
yeah, I had a bunch of folks hit me up and be like, Nick has a whole nother career, but he eats a lot. He gets out a lot. And I'm like, yeah, it's his passion. I mean, like, think about if you're a fantasy football nut, or you're football nut, or you love to cook or you love to run. It's your passion. This is Nick's passion, right? I mean, that's why you're out and about so much.
Yeah, I mean, as we talked about last week, this came together from a number of different inspirations. And I'm into sports. I love football. The pair of snow games that we had this past weekend were awesome.
Amazing. Yeah.
Um, There was a UFC event over the weekend. Unfortunately, I didn't stay awake for that one Saturday night. Usually, I do. We're in Road to WrestleMania season with WWE, so I have a lot of interests that occupy my time and attention. But at 45 years old, I don't have children. I just have my rescue dog Juno, and I had mentioned that the food was one of the reasons why I relocated to this area. A lot of people from other parts of the country find that hard to believe, but I really enjoy a lot of the restaurants and food trucks and talented chefs and other food and beverage, you know, workers and employees. And there's just a lot of talented people that work really hard to feed us. And I do cook. I've had people say, do you ever cook? Yeah, we cook plenty of times. Um, but I'm good for a night or so, maybe a night every week or other week to go out, whether it's for lunch or dinner, and we do a decent amount of takeout as well. So I try to be judicious in terms of both for budgetary reasons and dietary reasons, not to be eating out all the time. It
For
might
sure.
appear as though I do, but again, if in any sort of content space, you got to have the content. I have a couple, in the chamber, so to speak, that I haven't put out there yet
Sure.
that I'll be getting to soon. But like you said, it's a passion. It's something that I really enjoy, and nothing could make me happier than what you just said about people that had not heard of, as an example, a Southern Spice Deli, because neither had I until I was looking for something to get for lunch that day when I was getting my car serviced. And I'm so glad that I stumbled upon it. Like I said, it's a hidden gem. Hopefully, it won't be to a lot of people a hidden gem for much longer, because I think that their food is awesome, and I'm super thrilled that people are going out there and giving it a chance. I know that it might be not, Bluffton, Hilton Head. It's a little bit further out there, and Ridgeland, Hardyville, like we said, that sort of nexus of all these different neighborhoods. But it's worth it. I mean,
Worth the trip.
yeah, absolutely. So that's really great to hear. And yeah, for the record, I don't eat out every day of the week, although it might seem as though that I do from the frequency of
and
of
I,
posts.
and I think we brought it up in the premiere, but I mean it, it's a passion for chefs, a passion for passion in terms of just finding those chefs that love to collaborate, that love to continually create, and it's advocacy. I mean, it's just getting people out to try new stuff and support your local businesses. So that's all a part of it, friends, for sure. So, all right,
Absolutely.
couple other quick things. Um, we mentioned Tin and Tallow last week. Um, that was a shock to see the transformation. It happened very quickly. Matt Stock's involved over there and his whole crew. So there was a lot of promotion out there. And then you got over there for the opening, and I got to imagine it lived up to the hype.
Yeah, absolutely. I was fortunate enough to get an invite to a little bit of a breakfast sneak preview, let's call it. Last Thursday, the day before that they opened, they invited some friends and other people to a little breakfast thing from 8 to 11. Um, like you said, Matt is going to be there mornings, Derek Letaway in the afternoons, and Keith McCool in the evenings. So that'll bring definitely more visitors with the network that they have between their Matt's comedy endeavors and Derek's musical talents, and with Groovetown Assault and the other bands that he plays in. And of course, Keith is part of the Lincoln and South crew over there. So
Yep.
um, I got to go check it out. I got to enjoy a couple of sandwiches. Not huge, which is fine, which is good for me because I like to try a little bit of everything. The only thing I didn't sample was the breakfast burrito, which I heard was awesome, featuring salsa matcha aioli that I heard was very good. I tried the croissant breakfast sandwich with sausage, egg, and cheese. They actually threw a little bacon on that, which I didn't ask for, but I'm very happy that they did put that on there because the crispy bacon, just like it does on the tin and tallow burgers, gave it a nice crunch. It was very tasty, as was the fried chicken biscuit that you can get with either honey butter or hot honey butter, which I opted for. Gave it a nice kick. Uh, Josie and Tyler have done an incredible job with the space. It's very not much has changed outside from Jarvis Creek General Store as far as the seating area, but inside is extremely different. Um, seating in that main room. Then there is, if you walk into the back, where I guess was sort of the market part of things for Jarvis Creek General Store, there's a couple couches. There is a bar along the windows that face, the front, the corner there, of 278. And Tim, what's the name of that street again?
The side street.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
always get it
goodness.
confused. Um, that's okay. I'll look it up.
Yeah, I'm looking
Um,
it up right now.
Spanish
I
Wells Road.
yeah, hello.
So the bar faces, Spanish Wells Road on the inside. But the cool thing is that there's going to be, like right now, it's just bar seating, but there's going to be a functional bar that will face both inside for people that want to sit inside and people that want to sit outside looking inside, which I think is going to be really cool. Um, they are cooking in the truck still, which is parked out back. There's, behind a fence. So operationally, 7:30 to 10:30 for breakfast. They'll take a break for a half hour or so because they got to load in all the lunch stuff, and then it'll be 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. I believe for lunch, and then Sunday I think they open an hour later than usual. So Sundays will be 8:30 a.m. But I definitely want to get back there as soon as possible to get another burger. But it was my first time enjoying the breakfast. It was great. They've done an incredible job with the space. I think it's going to continue to be a popular spot to hang out, just like Jarvis Creek General Store was. I know there's a lot of people that are disappointed or sad that Jarvis Creek General Store is not going to be there. I don't know if Dave has plans, Dave Peck, to open a Jarvis Creek General Store type of place at a different location, but the, uh, the prospects are really exciting for that location.
Absolutely. All right, so couple other things I wanted to mention real quick in terms of just things I heard out and about, and if you've got any, please chime in. Slider Bar added some stuff to their menu. They'll be open later this week after the storm. They're taking Tuesday, Wednesday off for the storm, but they added a chili cheese dog. They added a Chicago dog, Italian sausage, and a boozy bratwurst to the main menu. They added a sriracha shroom slider for vegan. I think the bomb mushroom is gone now, and it's sriracha shroom. Then they added onion rings as sides, and they have a whole new craft cocktail lineup over there. So check that out. Congrats. Well, just real quick mention. Congrats to Orchid and the One Hot Mamas crew for getting the new Hilton Head location up and going. Saw a lot of activity online for that. Um, Poor Richards. What we were talking about that before the podcast, and there's been some discussion. Poor Richards is going to be closing. I think institution is very fair to say in terms of this high end dining and wine experience over on Bluffton Parkway. And a lot of folks sad to see it go. But you know, careers evolve, I guess is the easiest way to put it, right, Nick?
Absolutely. Quick rewind to Slider Bar. I really like the way that they are constantly changing things up. As I've
Yeah.
said before, I really like variety and things like that. Pete does a great job of freshening things up, and you know, if there's any sort of commentary that I've heard, it's the size of the. I mean, listen, sliders are sliders, folks. So number one, someone like me might have to have a couple of them. I'm thrilled about that because I get to try a couple different ones, which is great. And the other thing is that these are really, high quality ingredients. These are not like from back where I come from, where you would go to the White Manna, which was kind of like White Castle before it was White Castle up there in Jersey. These are not like, standard burgers. Like you said, the ones that you mentioned just make my mouth watering just hearing about those. So shout out to Slider Bar for innovating and that's cool about the onion ring thing. I think actually Tin and Tallow is going to start bringing a couple of other sides into the fray, like onion rings too. So you kind of spurred my memory there. But yeah, poor Richards. It's been kind of the hot button discussion for the last almost 24 hours or so since Ali made the announcement. Like you said, things change, um, personal circumstances change, careers take different paths, and things like that. I'll just say this: it's none of anybody's business why a restaurant decides to close. Um, that's their decision and their decision alone. I'm sure it's not a decision that's made lightly, whether it's this situation or any other circumstances. No one will miss a poor Richards more than myself, who, when I moved here, it was like, okay, this is a restaurant that's probably the closest to my house in Lawton Station than any other restaurant. It might take 10, 15 minutes to drive over there on Bluffton Parkway. But before we had all of these other places, opening up and imminently coming to our neck of the woods over here, um, that was one of the first restaurants that I came upon and immediately fell in love with the food. Um, Not your traditional restaurant. And I think that a lot of times there's maybe, I don't know, best way I could describe it is people are used to what they're used to, and they're going to try what they're going to try and not try what they're not going to try. Um, it will be missed. There's
Yeah.
no question about it. They will be missed. I don't think that they're going anywhere permanently. Again, I don't know, but I will say that they have their reasons. And to keep things on a more optimistic note, on the bright side of things, with every, I think I mentioned yesterday in the Bluffton Hilton Head restaurant and food
Yes.
scene. With every ending comes a new beginning.
Yep.
So we're not going to get into today what is coming, but I will say that something is going into that space, something very exciting, something very innovative, and something that I think a large number of Bluftonians and other residents in the area will be really happy about and really excited about. That's all I could ask is just have a little bit of patience and a little bit of faith. And sooner than later, you'll see, what will be coming. And I think everybody will be happy with it.
And on Poor Richards, everybody thinks they know. Everybody's an insider on Facebook. Everybody wants to, and some people are doing it as a joke in terms of when people ask questions about what's coming where. Um, the misinformation, disinformation, it doesn't do any good. It doesn't do anyone any good, and I would rather just celebrate. I mean, that was, like you said, that was the first, for me, the first real high end. I would almost call it a laboratory, because they just kept trying new things and new dishes and new tastes and new palate combos with wines and foods. Um, I just, I think, uh, to celebrate it and that. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad to see that chapter close, but for that family, they poured their hearts into it. No
A
pun
thousand percent.
intended with poor Richard, but I mean they gave everything to that place, and that's why they had, and they will have until the day they close, such a loyal following for sure. So,
Richard,
um,
he's incredible. You know what he's come. Shout out Justin Ray King as well. They have been putting out some incredible food. They started incorporating the pizza stuff, and more recently doing some breakfast for dinner. Allie has always done an amazing job with the desserts, as well as the cocktails. I mean, that place was literally husband and wife, just a couple of employees. Leah's one of the best servers anywhere around here. She's a sweetheart and always took amazing care of me and my family. So, yeah, they will be missed. I think they'll still be around. And like I said, stay tuned for what's going to happen there. I want to wish them the absolute best in their future endeavors, as they say. And definitely, you know, like we used the word last week for downtown Delhi, an institution. Poor Richards has been around for a long time. I've only been here for almost 4 years of that time, but right off the bat, I got very, comfortable and became, a loyal supporter of them from day one since I got here. So, bittersweet for sure, but life changes. It's going to change. It's just the way it is.
and some nice shout outs, by the way. And you mentioned downtown Delhi. Some nice shout outs from Leah and Kristen and Ryan over there. I mean, listen, it's it would be easy. Things evolve so quickly. It would be easy to forget the main the institutions. Okay, like you always want to be trying new stuff. So sometimes it's easy to forget like the folks that have been here for a while. So I think they especially appreciated that you didn't forget where we came from, so to speak, in terms of where we first started getting some of this passion. And
Yeah,
Ryan and Leah were certainly one of the first for me, where I saw that passion firsthand. And Port Richards, downtown Delhi, those sort of institutions. I think that's what's so exciting about the food scene, right? Is that you've got
yeah,
you've got these places, you've got the Shea Georges, and you've got these places that are institutions, but then you have the tin and tallies, you have the slider bars, you have the new places constantly trying to add more, add different tastes to the scene, and like you said with slider bar, yeah, sliders are different to get used to. Okay, I forgot to mention the buffalo chicken ranch that's being added full time to the menu, and then
nice.
the jumbo pretzel, which was a special for them, that's full time on the appetizers now too. But um, you know. uh, That's what makes it so exciting when you see a place like Joel open, or you see these new things coming. Um, it just as a small business fan, it excites me, but as a foodie too. I mean, like it's just like, when does it stop? No, it never stops. That's what's so
It
exciting
never
about the restaurant
stops.
industry. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said yesterday, 10 to 12 restaurants have closed down over the last several months. And my immediate response was, and there's 10 to 12 or more that have either opened or are just about to open or will be opening in the next several months.
I think
So
my count was
it
23 when I saw that comment and people talking about that. And yeah, I just boom, 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 like that are open or coming. So yeah, 10 to 15 or 10 to 12 maybe that have closed. There's like
yeah,
23 coming. So I mean that's the
yeah,
nature of the restaurant business.
absolutely. That's just how it goes. And I'm excited to continue supporting the establishments that have been here for a while and super excited to welcome the new ones. There's been and will continue to be something for everybody around here.
All right, so we get into the main attraction now, Mr. Nick. Uh Episode 2, we are here to talk pizza. And you know, obviously everybody's got their own opinions about this. Uh, I wouldn't say let the controversy begin, but I mean, we put 5 to 8 names out there,
Yep,
and there's gonna listen. We're telling you right now, there's gonna be some that you like that are left off. Hit us up in the comments. Hit us up on the email and let us know, because like we keep saying, the list is fluid, right? All right. Let us get to Nick's pizza picks. I've got a graphic. All right. By the way, people said, why don't you have music and the classic the classic podcast intro? This is a work in progress, my friends. So the music, the nice voiceover, it's coming. But we gotta we gotta we're building this piece by piece. So
exactly.
and now we add in some fun graphics. So we start on the pizza end, my friend, and again, no particular order, but the first
Exactly.
one I have queued up is Ralphie's Pizza. What
Yes.
say you about Ralphie's?
So last year, I lose track of time. I can't remember what time of year it was, but we started hearing about a new pizza spot that was going to open up in the Riverwalk in the old Stormies location. And
I was trying to think, I because there was obviously a place there before that became Stormies, and then Stormies seemed like they were expanding. They had a food truck, seemed like things were going well, and then boom, they're gone.
yeah, and then there was for a very brief time, there was like a Mexican
Mexican,
sort
yes.
of thing that's still, but they were still doing pizza, which you mentioned Canaritos, or prior to that, Mi Tiarita, similar type of thing, which is interesting combination. But started hearing about Ralphie's, and I had heard, somebody from up north, one of my realtor friends was a friend of, and got me pretty excited about it. So, you know, as you said, pizza is a very something that people are very passionate about. So I remember the first week or so that it was opened. I don't know if there was a soft opening or anything prior to that, but I remember it was a weekend. It was a Saturday, and my brother had ordered it Friday night, and I'd heard things about how it was very busy, and there were people waiting outside for tables, and all that other kind of stuff. So my first experience was kind of a bust. I called a number of times, and um, just ended up driving over there. And I walked up to the counter, and they were like, "It's going to be an hour for a pizza to go." So I called an audible and popped over to another spot that we'll get to a little bit later, but. Um, you got to be patient. Place is brand new. I remember, I think I posted something about it like, this pizza better blow me away if it's going to take an hour or whatever. And but
Yep.
like I said, if I'm not really about negativity, but sometimes I'll put a humorous spin on it. So that got a little bit of chatter going, and then we went back for lunch the week after or whatever, and it was as advertised, or at least the people that were talking about it were pretty on point. Um, I'm not sure if I mentioned this last week, but the best way that I could remember it is my wife was. She said that in the 3.5 or so years at the time that we had been here, it was the first time that she was looking forward to leftover pizza. Like a day or two later when we popped the rest of the pizza in the oven to reheat it. Um, the uh, the big pushback that a lot of people have down here is the dough, right? Which everybody says is a product of the water that's available. So it's one of the reasons why pizza and bagels might not meet the lofty expectations of people that come from either the Northeast or the Midwest with their Detroit style and Chicago deep dish and other stuff like
Or the
that.
New
But
York water. Yeah, the New York, yeah,
yeah,
the pizza.
I
Yeah.
I honestly, Ralphie's Pizza is, it's comparable to anything that I've had back home. Um, the the crust is crispy. Um, like we were talking about with the rolls and the bread for sandwiches. You want like a crispness on the outside, crispness. That's a hard word to say. And you want a little bit softer, obviously, on the inside. Um, I mean that right there is a pretty beautiful looking pie. If
Yes,
you
it
showed that
is.
to someone and said it was from New York or New Jersey or somewhere up in the Northeast, they probably would not argue with you about that. Um, so yeah, obviously there's a bar there, so you can get drinks. Um, I went a couple of weeks ago. One of the football games was on towards the end of the season. I think just either prior to or just after the playoffs had started. So they've gotten a pretty big following. They have also very recently added a salad bar as well as a hot food bar, I think, for
Mm-hmm.
lunch,
Yep.
which is pretty cool. Um, and I know the owner, his name escapes me at the moment, but I've also seen colleagues and fellow professionals that they'll have their BNI or whatever their group meetings in the morning, and he'll make eggs and sausage and pancakes and all that other kind of stuff. That's not obviously on their menu, but yeah, just strictly as far as the pizza goes, um, I think it's very good. Their sandwiches are interesting. They're sort of on like a supersized garlic knot, which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
cool. Circular type of pizza bread type roll, chicken parm, cheese steak, Italian, and a couple other options there. But yeah, the
It's a
pizza
messy
is
eat. It's a messy eat, but it's
yeah,
worth
the
it.
sandwiches are
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. And they do a great job in there. They got the little things where you can have, if you order a couple of pies, you got the little thing where you keep the pie on top and then the other pie on the bottom. We've had some pretty good apps there as well. But yeah, I would say, um, I don't want to get people all fired up about reminiscing about things from back home, but you if you're Italian like myself, you like your pizza. You're good for ordering out a pizza every couple of weeks or popping over to grab a couple pizza for dinner. And Ralphie's has delivered from the very beginning. I know they had an unfortunate incident a couple months ago where they flooded during one of the big rainstorms, so they had to close for a couple of weeks. So I'm glad that they got on the other side of that. And I'm fortunate that I have to take a short ride down 170 to get some good pizza.
Right? I mean, like the idea that we don't have to go far, whether you want to take and bake at Papa Murphy's or you want like legit pizza. We've got options now, and yeah, what I try to, and again, like you said, you know, you don't want to be like, it's like, like I had when back up north, you don't want to be that guy, but at the same time, a lot of people are looking for comps, and I, like you, I, so again, slow out of the gate. I, and this is probably a whole other discussion that we can have. I am not as forgiving on soft openings. I feel like when you open your doors, you better be ready. And kinks need to get worked out. So I typically wouldn't do reviews right away. But at the same time, I feel like when you open the doors, but you can't punish them for it. And I can say that, but I've never opened a restaurant. So like, like it's like walk a mile in my shoes and let's talk. So um all that said, like you, I called an audible the first time. It was like an hour. They said it was going to be an hour. It was like, an hour and a half later, and they weren't even close. At least they were alerting everyone. We're not close. So had to call an audible. Everybody kept telling me, don't don't give up on them. Go back. And absolutely worth it. I would put it right on par with the pizzas I've had out of New Haven and Neantic, Connecticut, which are just like pizza haven sort of places. Um, I I like Vinny Van Gogo's down in Savannah. I like Donato's. I would put it right up there, more, even more so, honestly. And then uh some of the pizza I used to have at Fordham, Pugsley Pizza, right outside of campus in the Bronx. It's that good. It really is. It's well done. Like you said, the crust crispy, but then soft, like nice and toasty on the inside, but edible, really edible, and really soaks in all the juices like really well without being soggy. That's the trick, right? That's the trick, especially when you got a pepperoni pizza, is getting that flavor drenched in there without being soggy.
Yeah, it's tough. It's not easy to make pizza. You know, there's that's a very specific job in the restaurant business. Is there's chefs and then there's pizza chefs. So I never had any intentions of not giving them a second chance after that initial little snafu. And the bottom line is just like we talked about with school pizza. If something's popular, a lot of people are going to go.
Yeah.
So we kind of waited it out for a week or two. We gave it another shot and lost track of, excuse me, how many times I've been back there since, whether it's with my wife for lunch or dinner or with a friend or two, business meetings, things like that. Just
The
convenient, crispy, and comes out piping hot and delicious.
and just as a jokey aside, like Ralphie's Pizza was kind of where I realized I needed help. I needed to um get on this weight loss journey because uh I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. And it's like, all right, pretty soon you're eating a large pizza and it's like you're not even hungry. Like, like the alcohol's not even affecting me anymore. Like, or, um, yeah. So, and, we're back now. All good things in moderation and good leftovers. Even I don't eat as much as I used to, but man, kudos to Ralphie's for sure.
Great antipasta salad too, if you're looking to be a little bit more mindful of the carbs and whatnot.
There's
They
so
put
many other
together a
things there,
salad.
right? I mean, that's the
Yeah,
thing. We're talking Ralphie's Pizza, but the chicken parm is on point.
yep.
The cheesesteaks, the gnocchi. I've had gnocchi there that was insane. Um, yeah, good start. Good start of the list, my friend. Very good start.
Hot out
All
of the
right.
gate. Yep.
Next up, Fat Babies Pizza and Subs. We go from Oakity to the island.
And this is so. I'll be. Yeah, I just want to be fair and transparent as always. Um, it's been a long time since I've been to Fat Babies. Um, you know, up until I moved here, this was a once, or if I was fortunate enough, twice a year visit to Hilton Head. For a week or two with my family or with my
Sure.
wife. A couple long weekends in between when we were starting to look towards moving here permanently. So it's been a while. I mean, if I'm over on the island during the day, and I'm going to lunch, I don't typically opt for pizza places for lunch. There's so many other things to eat, and like I said, the pizza's a real, quick Friday night dinner. You're picking up dinner for, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night for convenience. I'm obviously not driving to the south end of Hilton Head to pick up a pizza or to go get pizza for dinner. So, we talked about this before we recorded. Um, I obviously remember enjoying Fat Babies during one of my vacations. I remember it being very good. I see a lot of people post, you know, photos of their pizza, and they got a pretty crazy calzone over there as well. It's enormous. So, you know, if you want to shed more details, I don't have as much as I did on Ralphie's. I just know that it's a solid pie, and for people that are Hilton Head Islanders, whether native Hilton Head Islanders or locals that have been here for quite a while, that's one of their top spots, and I think rightfully so. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And there was a little bit of talk for a while about Fat Babies coming to Bluffton, and that ended up the initial talk was that they were going where Doughboys is now. It was
Okay.
talk that that was going to be Fat Babies. Um, and again, I think Doughboys is right on the cusp of our list too. I definitely enjoyed some Doughboy pizzas as well. Um, yeah, there's just so many. The garlic knots there are amazing. The margarita, the margarita white pizza is insane. Um, their meat lovers is just delectable. And again, that it's something where when you can really screw up a meat lovers, okay? Because you're combining a lot of different juices, between the pepperoni and, this one specifically has the pepperoni, the sausage, the meatball, the bacon, the ham. You're combining a lot of, a couple similar tastes, but you're combining some juices. It can get messy, it can get wet. Um, they are on point with it. Between the timing, between the correct mixture of ingredients, the meat to cheese to sauce ratio. Um, yeah, it's top notch. It's top notch, and again, we talk about these places. We're talking about one specific thing we love from them, but I mean their lasagna is insane. Their baby back ribs are
I didn't
delicious.
even know that they had that.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's the parms that they do. The cheesesteaks delicious. The grilled chicken, I think they call it the Californian. Um, they do a French dip, and
Okay.
now I'm just getting freaking hungry. I don't know how that was. It's like, okay, doofus, yeah, you're doing a food podcast. You're gonna get hungry doing this, but like I was holding my own until until I brought up the parms and the Californian here and the meat lovers mix. It's they just do it right. The and I think the other part of it too, um, that probably just raises the game a little bit for some of these places is just the service. They're so personable. It feels like a Cheers sort of place when you go in there. Um, and again, like you said, it's Hilton Head. It's a hike for a Bluffton guy, and Nick and I live right close to each other. I'm in Cypress Ridge. He's in Lawn Station. Um, but yeah, I've gone a little bit more frequently, but it's not like we're getting our pizza takeout from Fat Babies. It's more of like, okay, uh, let's make a specific trip to go, just like I would do with Donato's in Savannah. Um,
Sure.
any Ghost Pirates game, I always make sure I go to Donato's. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, Fat Babies, great pick. I'm the institution. 2006. Okay, yeah, I'm that's close to 20 years at this point. I'll give them I'll give them institution status. They're
Yeah,
certainly an island institution for sure.
yeah. I think a lot of times when people say, "Where should I go for pizza on Hilton Head?" Almost invariably, that's one that gets mentioned. Like you said, Doughboys is another one, and then there's a third that we'll get to in a couple. Um, you mentioned Doughboys. I don't think I've had the opportunity to try Doughboys yet. I did want to. Um,
You talking about
when it
Bluffton or Hilton Head or either?
Yeah, yeah, like when it moved into Bluffton. I never really I know where it is, in Hilton Head, but again, just never found myself looking for pizza, um, down in that area, because most of the time I'm there, during the day, the work day, or I'm going to dinner with, my parents or my family or something like that. So I have heard some pretty good things though since they moved into where the old uh, what was it, the Bluffton Trading Post, is that what
Post.
it was called?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So I have some friends that swear by it, some Bluffton friends, um, and I've heard pretty good things about it. Again, that's one of the ones that gets mentioned pretty frequently when people are asking for recommendations for pizza, specifically in Hilton Head. I would assume the Bluffton location is the food is the same as Hilton Head. Um,
Yes. I've had better experiences eating in at
okay,
Doughboys than taken out, and that's again your results may vary, but I love the consistency of the pizzas there. Um, they did a really nice job on the renovation. There's a small bar area, but it's just big enough. The seating is personable, but it's separated. So it's not just a bunch of tables. It was a very thoughtful renovation, and it's much nicer than you probably would think it's gonna be. I mean, I'm not saying it's what the hell is that place that closed over there?
Mama G's.
Yeah, forget how quickly we forget. It's not
Yeah,
like Mama G's high end in terms of the fixtures and everything, but it was a very thoughtful renovation there. And I say it's better in person. They got problems with parking there in Bluffton.
it's very very
That's
tight.
a really awkward spot,
Yeah,
and
it's a tough lot.
but but I'll tell you, it's worth it. And like you said, you got people that swear by it. It's not in my immediate takeout circle.
Yeah,
You
rotation.
know, yeah, my immediate takeout rotation. But like when I want to go in and eat, um, definitely Doughboys is up there for sure. All
Cool.
right, so next one that I have on the list, we go back over the bridge, just over the bridge to La Pizzeria.
Yes, La Pizzeria by the Marshalls, right near Tanger. Um, the best
Oh,
way that
is
I
that?
can.
Hold on, let me. There's a Fat Baby slice. I didn't put that up, so there's a
That's
nice
okay.
slice from Fat Babies.
That is a nice looking piece of pizza for right there. I'll tell you.
It is, and I didn't do justice to the beer next to it too. I zoomed in on the pizza, but there's the Fat Babies. All right,
That's okay, but just yeah, reminder that
on
you can get your beers there too.
exactly. So La Pizzeria, uh, boy, this place came out of the gates gangbusters, and I think the it had probably New York roots. It had a New York vibe to it. The minute you went inside there, go ahead in terms of La Pizzeria, Nick.
You hit the nail on the head. Um, La Pizzeria to me, you know, it's New York. The style of the pizza reminds me very much of what a pizza that you would get. Not that I spent a ton of time. in New York City, but enough times growing up in North Jersey, enough times where I was able to enjoy, a couple slices of pizza. Um, La Pizzeria is, it's authentic Italian style pizza. Um, the crust is definitely solid, um, crispy, like we said about Ralphie's. Um, it looks like we got a little combo pie there: sausage,
Yep.
peppers, onions on one side. Thinking I'm seeing some roasted peppers, maybe some chicken cutlet on the other side.
Yep.
Um, a lot of these places where they really shine is their special pies. So one of my favorites from La Pizzeria is the Nonna New York style pizza. The Nonna, as an Italian would say it, Nonna.
Is that the
Um,
Brooklyn?
no, this is
It's not.
the
It's not that, is it?
this is the grandma. So it's red sauce, ricotta, and I'm saying the Nonna. The one that you're showing is the Brooklyn
Yep.
style.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
that's probably a Brooklyn style. Yeah, the San Marzano tomato, fresh
Tomatoes.
mozzarella, and fresh basil drizzled with olive oil. I was actually going to get that was going to be the next one that I mentioned. Those are my two favorites from New York pizza. And, I remember we had a place back home that was actually called Brooklyn Pizza or Brooklyn's something pizza that was in Ridgewood, New Jersey. And those were around. But again, the San Marzano tomatoes, um, fresh mozzarella. That, like I said, the nana goes with the ricotta and the meatballs and the standard mozzarella. But the Brooklyn uses the fresh mutts and the fresh basil drizzled with the olive oil. Those are authentic New York, Brooklyn style pizzas. So, and they even have a New York style white pizza with prosciutto and arugula and a balsamic glaze. But and also, they have Sicilian pan pizza, and they get into all the other stuff, the barbecue chicken, the chicken bacon ranch, all that kind of stuff. I stick mostly to the nana and the Brooklyn New York style square pie, not as thick as a Sicilian, but square slices like you would get at one of these authentic Brooklyn type places. I've also really enjoyed their stromboli.
Mm-hmm.
They have,
Great,
five
great
different,
pick. Yeah.
yeah, starting with cheese, all the way through to, like I said, the chicken bacon ranch and the buffalo chicken. To me, nothing beats, and you can get these as calzones or stromboli. For me, nothing beats an Italian calzone with ham, salami, pepperoni, provolone, mozzarella. Um, I like a nice, sausage stromboli as well. You got the mozzarella and the I like to do a little sausage, maybe peppers and onions, that type of thing. So usually I'll do a pie and I'll grab one of the strombolis, typically a stromboli, because usually, like I said, I'm doing one of the pies that has the ricotta, and I don't want to go crazy with the ricotta cheese for just reasons like we were saying before. But yeah, it's in my opinion, New York style. I know there's been a change of ownership or two, or something along the way. Um, like you mentioned before, we're also evaluating service. I've never really had issues there. I think most every time that I've eaten there, I've taken out. Um, I remember when Mama G's first opened up, and I wanted to give that a shot. They only had certain pizzas that you could take to go. So once or
If
twice, I did a little.
if any, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So once or
always the
twice,
thing that just blew my mind about Mama
yeah.
Jesus. They didn't do takeout.
Yeah, I think there was a thing where they think some of their pizzas would travel well based on some of the ingredients that they were using.
Yeah.
But what I did, I would pick up a pie or two there, one that I could order, and then I would actually on the way home I would roll over to La Pizzeria and grab an antipasta salad or a chef salad, and maybe if I was planning ahead, their subs and sandwiches are actually pretty decent too. I've had the Italian there. Not that I want to go back to the sandwiches, but yeah,
There was
everything that I've
so
had there has been
much.
solid.
There
Yeah.
was so much debate and disdain about just like these two places across the street. It's like La Pizzeria came on the scene and was like what was the thing. Like everybody had to eat La Pizzeria, and then Mama G's opens, and it's like, oh, okay, well, La Pizzeria is still there. It's like, and I try to tell everybody, okay, it's like you can have both. Like they were both pretty good, and one's lasted, one didn't. Um, and thankfully, like you said, some change in ownership. I think it's gone from New Yorker to New Yorker though, so that's the vibe is still there.
Yes.
Yeah, and I will just add, I've had, and you mentioned the regat. I have a very love hate relationship with regat. Like it is like playing Russian roulette with me. I am not always allergic to it,
Mm.
but like there's plenty of times where I have been. I went to see a friend down in Orlando, and I ordered it specifically without the regat, and they switched up our pizzas and gave me the one with regat, and like I looked like Will Smith and Hitch, like my face blew up, like um I played a little Russian roulette at La Pizzeria once, and had that, and I was fine, and it was heaven. It was so. I'm glad you brought that up, and I would add you know, a lot of places just kind of will mail it in on spaghetti or spaghetti and meatball. Um, and these guys, the spaghetti, my sons just devoured the spaghetti and meatballs, and anytime I've had the baked ziti there was amazing too, beyond the pizzas. So yeah, another great pick. They got to be there. They got to be there for sure. So
Yeah.
uh
I mean, if we did this 6, 8 months ago or whenever before it closed quickly, I'm sure that Mama G's would have been on our list. But just like the Alvin Ords conversation, Mama G's was different. I mean, there was an authenticity there, but
yes.
not the place where you would get your standard cheese pizza or pepperoni pizza. I mean, it was the one with the spicy salami and the olives, or there were a couple pies there that I liked, but it was just different. I mean, some of them were almost more like longer rectangular flatbread
Yep.
looking pizzas, and it
The
got
ham the
a
ham
little like,
version of those rectangular. I mean, I had that at
yeah,
lunch a couple times, and
yeah,
it was to die for, and
yeah. A little
you
more
know,
creative and eclectic. And we won't get into the circumstances of their departure. I know there was a lot of people that were disappointed, and there was also a wide range of opinions about it. Positive and negative, and we don't need to get into all that
nope.
stuff. But
I mean, listen,
I
yeah,
yeah,
it was abrupt, but I think
yeah,
that's fair to say. It was
yeah,
abrupt, and but for better or worse, I think it's a place that will be talked about for quite a while,
yeah, for sure.
until the
Yeah,
next generation turns over here. But
yeah.
and we're the old farts, and remember back in the day,
Right.
yeah, it was
And I
like,
say all that to say, I'm
yep,
glad that La Pizzeria is still around. I know that,
yeah,
like I said, there's
same
been a
here.
couple changes, and I hope that it's going to be around for a long time because it's consistently good. And, for someone like myself who likes that New York style, that Brooklyn style, that Italian style pizza, I think, it really checks all the boxes.
Well said. Well said. All right, let's see. Let's see what's next on the list here. Bella Italia, back over the bridge to Hilton Head.
Yes.
Um, this is one of the spots that I I feel like you'll be introducing a lot of. I think that your classic Islander knows about Bella Italia, but I don't think a whole lot of Bluffton and Oakedy and Sun City folks are as tuned in there. But it's special for sure.
Bella Italia is an homage to my parents. Um, I'm not sure if I mentioned last week, my parents live at Hilton Head Plantation. They moved here about a month or so after my wife and I. And when I think about growing up in New Jersey, I think about, when you mention pizza, I think about a pizza restaurant in North Haledon, New Jersey, which was a neighboring town to Wyckoff where I grew up. And it was called Anthony and Mario's Pizzeria. And Anthony and Mario's was a fixture. It was very close, right over on the border into North Haledon, and then they eventually moved a little bit further down the road. But we would still get it. We would still go and get and pick it up for dinner on a weekend night. Um, my parents, there's no discussion if they're ordering pizza, on a weekday or weekend, more so weekends because my mom cooks quite a bit. Um, they order from Bella Italia. I have certainly enjoyed the food myself. I think it's very good. I think there are a lot of similarities to what we just discussed with La Pizzeria. It's that authentic, not so crispy as far as the crust. I think I would describe this as a softer crust pizza, but high quality in terms of the ingredients. Um, they got a solid variety of the special pizzas. Um, the Godmother is one that jumps out: chicken, eggplant, spinach, sun dried tomatoes, and feta. That's one. Um, they do a margarita thin pizza that's very good. We mentioned ricotta. You can get that with a red or a white sauce. And The Godfather. Speaking of making me hungry, sliced chicken cutlet, sausage, onions, green peppers, black olives. I don't know. I mean, that's wild to combine chicken cutlet with sausage and whatnot. I don't think I've ever seen that combination before, but
And
um,
it plays. It plays. It
it
slaps,
plays.
as the
Yeah,
young kids will say.
yeah, exactly. And then it seems like they got all these options that are gluten free as well. And they do a cauliflower pizza for those people that are, more health conscious and want to stay away from, your standard pizza dough or your gluten free pie. Bella Italia took great care of me when I catered a luncheon for one of my real estate offices. They did a spectacular job. They put together some pastas and some salads and things like that. Yeah, you got a beautiful pie right there with the
Oh my
fresh
gosh.
tomato, basil. That's a good looking pie. That's the margarita thin right there.
Yep.
So I would say that tastes as good as it looks. Um, like you said, this is one that might not be universally known, especially out here in Bluffton. But I think a fair amount of the North Enders, like I said, my parents and people that are in and around HHP, um, sometimes
They
that,
know.
yeah, they know. And then sometimes that Port Royal Plaza
Yep.
gets lost in the shuffle, maybe because, they lost their anchor store. Was at the Walmart, I think.
Sam's.
Sam's. I'm sorry. I
Yep.
always get the two mixed up, but
Yeah,
six of one, half a dozen of the other.
and then they lost the Planet Fitness, or they
Yeah.
lost. I'm sorry, they lost. It was a buy low. Now it's a
Okay.
Planet Fitness. People thought it was this ghost town for a little bit. It never was. It never
No.
was. Bella Italia's been there. Street Meat's been there.
Yep.
Um, Riley's turned into the poorhouse. It's been there. Now they've got a whole new combo of spots there. Um, but Bella Italia just continues. And I brought this picture up because it's the dad. This is Tony Roncardi,
Okay.
and I love the Patriots hat. That's so, I mean, but
It's old school.
he's not he's kind of more of a cameo. The family, the sons and daughters run it, but it is boy, it's really delicious. It really is. It's so well done. Um the I don't love I love ham pizza. Like ham, and I'm a ham pizza snob. And especially when we start talking about prosciutto.
Yeah.
Um but I don't do I am a snob when it comes to pineapple pizza. I mean, I Hawaiian pizza. I don't like putting pineapple with my ham. This is the
Okay.
one place down here. I don't I can't tell you why, but it's the one place down here where neither one of them overpowers the other, and it's just perfect. So I big thumbs up to the Hawaiian pizza. And then the other thing, other thing that I'll add to you is dessert. The uh the Italian lemon cream cake is just stupid delicious. They got all of your, they got the cannoli, they got the tiramisu, the Italian cheesecake, but I mean the Italian lemon cream cake is yum. So
You know,
top off a big delicious pizza experience with that.
yeah, you got a good spot when the whether it's like I would say the baby boomers on up in age, with Italian backgrounds and coming from places that are heavily dominated by Italian pizza shops. When they're getting regular business from that crowd. Um, I inherited my taste for food from my parents, and my mom's an unbelievable chef, and my father's more of a grill man than anything else. So although he makes some killer cheesy eggs, they swear by the place, and like I said, took great care of me when I had them cater a dinner, and like you said, that Port Royal Plaza might be forgotten by some people, but certainly not forgotten by me because I love Jinya ramen, the kung fu tea. I think that there's something that's swapping out of there soon, where I feel like it might be a Korean barbecue. I want to say
Yeah.
one of those spots, and I also
Am I
enjoy.
confusing? That's where the Paris baguette is now, too, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Which is
I know
another
there's like three
Paris. Speaking of
restaurants right in
desserts,
a row.
yeah. Speaking of desserts, Tim, Paris baguette is
Oh
dangerous. I
yeah.
know it's a chain, but that place is trouble.
I
Just
don't
put it through
break
that
out
way.
the Kramer, too often, but giddy up.
Yeah, yeah, for
All
sure.
right. Okay. So listen, like sometimes you got to go back to the greatest hits, and uh I almost feel like this is like it keeps winning best of, so I almost feel like people want to just kind of like, whatever, local pie. Yeah, local pie. I mean, it keeps winning the best of for a reason. It just seems to hit everybody's taste, and they're always trying new stuff. The 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 oven the ovens they use are top notch, and they hire folks who take care in really crafting every pizza in my mind.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. You're not going to talk about pizza in Hilton Head and Bluffton without talking about local pie. And I know I talk a lot about, what's an Italian pizzeria and otherwise. I wouldn't think, off the top of my head, I wouldn't classify local pie as an Italian pizza shop. However, like you said, you know, the way that they prepare the pizza with the ovens that they have, the fact that they use San Marzano sauce, you know, quality mozzarella, quality ingredients. Um, Bluffton and of course Hilton Head, I think as well. We're biased because we live out here in Bluffton, and the old saying goes, "Bluffton is a state of mind," right? Um, it's a community. I mean, it's no one is more a representative of that than you, Tim, with what's happening in Bluffton and 27,000 members, and growing and going strong. Um, you can't talk about pizza around here without talking about local pie. That starts at the top. Um, Lee Lucier is a great guy. Um, the people that work there are awesome. Um, Obviously, it all started with local pie and fish, and then forest fire. That group down there, and they're just, you know, they work their butts off. I always think of, because my mother is a retired math teacher, algebra 2 and geometry, one of her favorite days of the year. She actually has people wishing her a happy birthday on March 14th. But I was blown away. I don't know if I wasn't, I think I might have seen it, but not to the degree that I saw this past year with the promotion that
Yeah.
they were doing with pies for $3.14. And that ticker, that, I mean, between the two restaurants, the
And
number of,
the battle that they do, like it, folks, it is real. It is real. And they come prepared. They're not running out of pizzas. The only question is how many can you eat? Because
right.
and how many are, and I believe Bluffton took it this year, but I mean it goes back and forth, and they, oh man, they you want to talk about hustle, and you want to talk about finely tuned staffs. Go into either one of the, and now a third one's coming to New Riverside. Go into any of the three spots on Pie Day, and you will see the definition of finely tuned machines in terms of the staffs and the passion. And like, and you said it, it's just, it doesn't jump off the page as a pizzeria where you're gonna hear, the old school Italian melodies, and the old school murals on the wall and such. But boy, do they nail it. Oh, do they nail it. And there was listen, it started in Hilton Head. There was so much concern because it was so beloved on Hilton Head. There was so much concern when they went to Bluffton that they were going to split up the staffs, and it was going to just absolutely marginalize both of the places. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. So any of you folks that are concerned about New Riverside, listen. First of all, uh, Lee and his crew know how to hire. Okay? And anyone who says I can't open, I can't keep something open, there's not enough staff to go around. Okay, might be an issue. Somehow, again, if these guys are magicians or not, they always seem to find a quality crew. And so I have no doubt whoever ends up at New Riverside, that they'll deliver, and the D's knots will still be just as delicious. And the gosh, the monkey, the usual, the biplane, it's, they know how to do it. They just it I if, You kind of run out of words to describe pizza, but it blows me. The consistency blows me away. The quality, the continued quality of ingredients. They could cut corners, because they've been around a little bit. They've established their name. They could cut corners, and I don't hear any of that. I don't hear people saying, it's not what it used to be. They stopped doing this. They stopped doing that. No, they keep innovating.
keep innovating, consistent, and two things. When you're talking about innovation, and you also mentioned music, let's not forget about the fact that Local Pie in Bluffton has Sunday brunch,
Oh yeah.
which is completely not something that you would expect from a pizza restaurant. Not just pizzas, you know, brunch pies, but the skillets, biscuits and gravy, French toast, monkey bread, and also the entertainment. I hear and see a lot of weekends, and sometimes I'll pop over there just for this reason. Sunday brunch 11 to 3 with Campfire Tyler. They have
Yep.
seamlessly. You know they're just as big a part of the promenade and that atmosphere, I would say, in the promenade on a weekend, specifically on a Sunday, whether it's Local Pie with their brunch or around the corner, you know Calhoun Street Tavern. You might see Low Country Boil playing over there. It's just Captain Woody's, obviously. It's a
Jevin and
happening
yeah,
place to be.
Jevin up on a Thursday night with Andy. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's yeah. There's yeah. That's a pretty. It's become a pretty nice little road there between Calhoun Street Tavern, uh, Captain Woody's Local Pie Slider Bar, Bluffton Barbecue. A lot of different tastes, and then I mean you've got some high end stuff with Crudo and the Bluffton Room. And then the farm right around the corner. So it's a little foodie heaven. I I listen. I'm looking forward to them anchoring the whole new Riverside scene because there's a ton going in there as well. But this is one of those where I was a little worried because it's like I don't want to gush too much, um, and I don't want to come off like we're being paid. to,
Yeah, but
to
that's the thing. This is not just. I wanted to say it earlier when you were talking about service. We're not just reviewing restaurants and food and beverage establishments for their food, and that's not to say that the food at Local Pie isn't good. It's very good,
Yeah.
but what we're also factoring in, you don't just choose a restaurant based on what's on the menu or what you ate there last time. You choose a restaurant based on, like we said, the atmosphere, the environment. Sometimes people want to go to a restaurant just to have fun because they want to play trivia with you, or they want to listen to and watch Campfire Tyler or Jevin and Andy or whatever the case is. That's all part of, for me, dining is an experience. Dining out
Absolutely.
is and should be an experience. And Lee understands that. Like I said, it starts at the very top. Lee understands that. I remember when they opened, when Forrest Bodkin and him opened up Forest Fire, you know, specials. We're going to show the football games on the weekends, birthday parties, live musical acts. That little stage outside of Fish has become, a little bit of a thing too. And
Sure.
probably more so when the Tiki was shut down for a little while for their renovations. But still, Caligni. I'll be honest. Hand up. I don't spend as much time at Caligni as I used to as a visitor, as a tourist, as a vacationer. But I still go there for lunch. I still, spend time down at my office in Hilton Head is on New Orleans Road, is right across the street from Local Pie. So, and I don't spend a ton of time, at my office. I work from home and I'm out on the road a lot. But the point is that we're not just evaluating these places for their food. That's obviously a huge part of it. And while we're not playing favorites because we don't have anybody that's in our pocket, right? We're going to give credit where credit is due, and we're going to shout out the people and the places that help make this a place where we love to live. And I know for a fact that we are not alone in our opinion of a place or places, and soon to be three places, three locations of local pie. You know,
Absolutely.
someone
I'll
might
get
say, yeah, go ahead.
just as an
Sorry.
aside, I'll give you a perfect example of like not in not in our pockets, or we're not in their pockets. Like um Doughboys and I had a partnership with what's happening in Bluffton. It went sideways, and it didn't turn out the way that I was hoping it would. That doesn't mean I'm gonna sit here and crap on Doughboys when the food is that good. I mean, come on. Like,
Yeah.
uh it's we're here to advocate for the good stuff. And um you know and by the way, like, Lee's a nice guy, but Lee's a tough nugget to crack. And it's like, sometimes I think he hates me, sometimes I think he can stand me, sometimes I think, okay, maybe we could be friends, and then I go back onto the hate scale. So, but that doesn't mean I don't. I wasn't best friends with George Steinbrenner when I worked at the Yankees, but he's the best damn business person I ever worked for, and I damn well made sure I learned from it while I was there. And Lee's one of those similar guys. And for those who do get close to, like, if you're an Eagles fan, man, now's the time to be hanging out with Lee at the Hilton Head local pie. It just keeps it's gonna just keep raging the next couple weeks if the Eagles keep up this run. But yeah, local pie. Um, I almost feel like it's a it's a non-chain playbook, like how to run something where the consistency is there, that, like, you can say, well, I can go to any Olive Garden and it will be okay. It might not be the most phenomenal, but it will be very consistent. Well, local pie is both phenomenal and consistent. And okay, yeah, now I feel like I'm gushing, so
No, no, we were having such a great conversation, and you had to go and bring up the Eagles.
sorry.
Now I don't feel so good. No, I'm kidding. Listen, the Lee, I got the chance to meet him at the polo match at Rose Hill last year, and we had a really fun interaction. It was actually the first time I had gotten to try school pizza, and I ran into him and Heather, and we had a funny conversation about, there's kind of a little bit of a, I wouldn't even call it inside anymore. There's like a standing joke about my distaste for lawn tools and noise that's produced by landscaping and other kinds of things. And we had a fun conversation. I wouldn't call it an argument, but we had a fun conversation. And as I walked away, I said, it was great meeting you guys. And Lee said, keep bitching. And I just thought that was hysterical. It's he's one of a kind, and I'm just happy to be able to support him. And also, I should also mention that at one of my wife's events for the Outside Foundation last year, I can't remember what it was or when, he provided all the volunteers with pizzas from Local Pie. So they are a
And
huge
yeah,
member
just the
of the
stuff they
community.
do. Just the
Yeah,
stuff they do for the schools, the stuff they do for surrounding businesses, just kind of like sneak, like lunch ambushes. And yeah, they
they
do it
deserve
right. They do it
they
right.
deserve the recognition.
All right, so on to the honorable mentions. That's your core list, but I mean, listen, with pizza, my goodness, like, there's just so many that we can't just name five. I mean, and this is one of those with Southern Peel that just, like, uh I mean, talk about exploding onto the scene. um Chelsea and the whole crew over there, they have just they took Bluffton by storm. Now they're doing a ton of catering. You'll always, you still see them at lot 9 and the the events in Old Town, but yeah, I mean Southern Southern Peel, uh, just delicious.
Yeah, we're gonna get into more of that when we talk about food trucks. Southern Peel does a tremendous job, whether they're posting up at a lot nine. That was actually my first experience with them. And again, we're talking about a different kind of pizza. We're talking about, more of a personal size, smaller Neapolitan type pizza at Southern Peel. I'll never forget that first night that my wife and I went over to Lot 9 after we moved here, and we grabbed a table outside, and we're sitting there drinking our beers, and we order a couple Southern Peel pizzas, and one of the pies that they were offering that night was the peachy pig, and it had peaches and prosciutto and whatever else was on there. And I still to this day have a good laugh about it, because they serve you the pies on these circular cardboard discs, and they write the type of the pizza, or whichever toppings or whatever it is, whichever pie that you've ordered, and they also write the name of the person that ordered it. So they come over and they put our pies down on the little picnic table there outside of Lot 9, and the cardboard disc said Pig Nick. And I said, "Excuse me?" I said, "Are you guys trying to tell me something?" Because I'm sitting there with my wife, and we order three pies so that we can, not three large normal sized pies, but three of their pies so that we can try a little bit of each one. And we threw whatever we had left in a box, and brought it home to eat left over. But I had a good chuckle out of that. The Pig Nick, that was my first experience with them. Um, I think that they're awesome. They do, like I said, they do a great job with events. We'll circle back to them, and certainly they'll get their just due when we're talking about food trucks. But if you're going to talk about pizza in the area, it's only fair that you include Southern Peel. And another that I would say has a bit of a cult following in the area, not Bluffton or Hilton Head per se, but if you take a ride out towards Ralphie's, that's actually where I audibled when I was going to be waiting an hour that first time that I went over to Ralphie's. I actually rolled right over to Sunset Pizza, otherwise known as the Full Moon Saloon, in that little shopping center, a little bit further down 170. Um,
How
it's
did
different.
how did Sunset Pizza not make our main list?
I had it written down here. It was very close to the food truck section.
Yep.
I did have it on here. Um, I say this: Sunset Pizza is certainly not your Italian style pizza.
Yep.
The crust is different. Um, a lot of people swear by it. They say, hands down, that's their favorite pizza in the area.
The
Um,
folks who, like you said, the folks who like it don't just like it, they love it. They
yeah,
are really vigilant about letting you know.
yeah, and it's pizza, as with anything else, or even more so. It's an individual taste. I'm not going to say that I didn't like it. I sure did. I mean, that night especially, I was super hungry, so I definitely my opinion was skewed from that night. But they have a large kitchen that's actually shared with the Half Day Cafe breakfast place that I mentioned to you before, breakfast and lunch.
Yep.
And Big T and Trent, between those two places, I just think they do an incredible job. They have a lot of people that work there, whether it's bartenders, servers, people back in the kitchen. They are consistently busy. We talked about football before. Obviously, we're down to, two games left this Sunday. But if it's in season and you want to go somewhere where you can watch all the games, I've been to a few places that don't quite get how Sundays work, that shall remain nameless. But I would say that if I'm going to go watch football on Sunday, if I'm in Hilton Head, I'm going to the Smokehouse, or like I said, Forest Fire as well. Um, but Smokehouse has a ton of TVs, and they got even more so upstairs on the rooftop bar. If I'm staying in Bluffton, even though it's technically Hilton Head proper, it's still on the Bluffton side of the bridge. You got your Bones, which I don't know if anybody has more screens than they have, and it wasn't where we
The and
originally.
and the epic, the epic mega screen. I mean that screen set up in the middle where they can put like
Yeah,
10
just
different
like
games and then turn one into like
yeah,
200 inches. it's
yeah, like
it's that's fun. Yeah.
the Megatron of football screens, and yeah, I'll be honest, like I was blown away. I had already eaten that day, so I didn't indulge in the menu. I just had a couple of drinks with my friends, but they enjoyed their sandwiches. They got the TVs, numbered and labeled with which games on what. You got a great combination of fans from all different places. There was actually an Indianapolis Colts fan sitting at the bar. You don't see too many of those around here out in the wild.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
Although there's a
so
bunch over here in Cypress Ridge.
okay, okay, but
They
yeah,
they got their
it's
own golf carts. It's crazy.
oh, okay,
Anyway, sorry to
gotcha. No,
digress.
no,
Sorry
no,
about
you're
that.
fine, you're fine. Sunset again. Some of these places, you have to, you have to include them when you're talking about the top places in the area because there's just way too many people that go out of their way to swear by Sunset, and it might not be my personal favorite, just because I have certain preferences that lean towards the more Italian style. But doesn't mean that it's not good, and it doesn't mean that it's not worth mentioning in this conversation.
And by the way, like our categories for the first 15 shows you've mapped out, um I'm not gonna say they're low hanging fruit, but it's the greatest hits. It's the things that you would think of right out of the gate. But I would definitely, as we hopefully get further into this and come out with uh, another list and get in the weeds a little bit, little bit more granular, I guess. Um, a sports bar, a American pub sort of list would be good as well. And you mentioned a bunch there. I'm curious now. I've never been there for a football Sunday, and I listen. I don't know. I love the big TV. I love Bones. I also love Calhoun's. I also love my what am I blanking? It's Calhoun's, right?
Calhoun Street Tavern and the Promenade.
No, why am I blanking on?
They have a couple screens in the outdoor patio. I've actually gone there when I've gone to see Low Country Boyle with Jevin and those guys. That they'll have the games on in the outside patio. Are you talking about Craft Kitchen?
Nope.
They got several screens too. That's also a decent place
The
to watch.
okay. Why am I'm calling it Calhoun's. The Irish sports bar off of New Orleans Road.
Oh, not Callahan's.
Callahan's. It's
Is that it?
Callahan's. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I feel like an idiot saying Calhoun's, but yeah, Callahan's.
Close. You
I
weren't far
I'm
off.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Callahan's Irish Sports Pub. I went there for lunch
Callahan's
last year.
is definitely a goat in terms of your sports bar experience. They've
Yeah, if you
upgraded
want to
some
play some
stuff too.
pool.
Yep,
Yeah,
some shuffleboard, some pool,
yeah,
TVs. They're upgrading the TVs like a little bit at a time. Anyway, yeah, don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole, but
sure.
we gotta put pubs on the list for the next round.
Yep,
Um, and so we put Sunset Pizza up there. Um, you mentioned them earlier. I will mention them again. Because I scoffed at it. I won't lie. I scoffed at the idea when it was La Meteorita. No. What's it called? Before
Cantoritos,
no, before
Meteorita,
Cantoritos. Huh?
Meteorita, right? It was
Meteorita.
Meteorita.
Meteorita. Yes.
You get
So the
confused with the Mutieras and the
yeah, I
Tiaritas.
know.
It's a lot.
So people used to tell me, "Oh, you got to try the pizza." You know, I would talk about pizza all the time. What's happening in Bluffton? People would be like, "Oh, you got to try the pizza at Meteorita." Like, whatever. It's a Mexican place. Like, let's don't. We're not crossing swords here. Okay. They kept the chefs from Meteorita with Cantoritos, folks. It is. It's the real deal. Okay. Again, not classic Italian pizza, but delicious. The sauce is delicious. The crust is done right. Um, Great meat to cheese to sauce ratio. Um, and uh, within the collective of the scene, inexpensive. And that's probably one thing I would say. Um, like, let's not price this out, folks. Like, I feel like and listen, I inflation. I know it's costing more. I get it. I feel like pizza is there's some places that are starting to price out the market. Like and I don't want to pay $30 for a pizza. I'm sorry. I am I wrong?
No, I mean it's listen. Everything's getting more expensive. Food is not something that I particularly am cost conscious about, especially when I'm going out. But listen, everybody has their point as far as what they're willing to spend for certain things. I think people need to bear in mind that food costs have gone up
Yep.
considerably.
Yep.
And like we talked about with Slider Bar, their ingredients are top notch. So I think that needs to be factored in. But we watch a lot of these shows, like you know, whether it's a Gordon Ramsay or John Taffer and things like that. Sometimes restaurants might be inflating their prices for the wrong reasons or trying to make up for somewhere else where they're lacking. But
Bad overhead,
um,
whatever it is. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
and
listen, it's a sensitive subject. There's no question about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And uh I I'm not I'd have no problem paying for an experience night out. I have no problem paying for um a a a memory, and food nights can be a memory.
yeah.
When I'm talking about my weekly pizza takeout place, don't price me out. Families of four, don't price us out. Like I and at the same time, some of it's starting to come back. Like I was watching McAfee yesterday. They were talking about the food at the national championship game at State Farm, or at uh, the Superdome. Or no,
Yeah.
what's it called? State Farm. What's the new place there? Um,
In New Orleans?
uh, yeah, Mercedes Benz. No, in Atlanta, Mercedes Benz Dome or whatever. It's
Yeah,
where
Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Yeah.
Yeah. They were talking about the food. They had this like big plate of like it was like chicken wings, popcorn, hot dogs, soda, um, and there were at least three more dishes there. It was all your like comfort food favorites. Any one of those in most of your arenas would probably be $15. The whole dang thing was $20. And it wasn't just a one-time thing. I guess this is like an Arthur Blank thing, and this is now it's starting to creep over to State Farm Arena too, with the Hawks. Um, if you if you do things right, if you pay attention to your numbers, um, you don't have to price people out. And uh, yeah, I'm gonna get off that soapbox, but I do have a little um notch in the craw with some of the pizza inflation around here. None of the folks on this list. I'll just say that right now. um, so we talk about Canaritos. We did not. You wanted to mention upper crust as well, right? In the
Yeah,
honorable mention.
yeah. I mean, I think anybody that's in Sun City, I mean, just go into upper crust on a Friday or Saturday, any time of the year, the place is going to be full. And there's a bar there too. Again, not what I would call Italian style pizza, um, but if I want to go grab a quick pizza, I talk about salads and things like that as well. Upper crust has as good um, of a antipasta salad as it comes. They got the pepperoni, salami, ham, Canadian bacon. Like they literally, it's all chopped up. Kalamata olives, green peppers, pepperoncini. Their house dressing's very good. But like even the pizzas, I mean, I don't think it's a traditional, like I said, Italian style pizza place. But I have there's one pie in particular that I'm a big fan of. That's called let's see if I can find it here. Um, it's called the Frogmore. And talk about interesting combinations: red sauce, mozzarella with Italian sweet sausage, shrimp, and onions. Um, that is one of my favorites. And I mean, that's a pie you can't get at any of the places that we just mentioned. I had never heard of that combination before of sausage and shrimp, but I got it. I enjoyed it. I've had it a number of times since then. They also do calzones, pretty much any of the pizzas. You can get it as a calzone. They do gluten free. They've done cauliflower in the past, but it's showing out of stock right now. So maybe that's not something that they're doing. But being over here on the right outside the borders of that burgeoning Sun City metropolis. I mean, that William Pope Drive little cluster of places, that upper crust is definitely the anchor of those shops, on the other side of the street from where Okati Ale House and the what's that liquor store over there?
Big Daddies or
Yes, exactly. Where
Daddios.
that, yeah, Daddy-O's, where that new hidden egg with the breakfast sandwiches is
Yep.
great. But yeah, eh, the upper crust is solid. Um, like I said, I remember back home where I most recently lived. If it was a Friday night and we wanted to just get a pizza, where I could run out and pick it up and be back, in a half hour with a hot pizza. Where I lived in Hawthorne, that was Tasties. It was, no frills, pizza, mozzarella sticks, salad. Maybe you wanted some wings or something like that. So I would put, upper crust right in that category. It's consistent, good service. It's always ready on time. I'm never waiting there. And, that Sun City population, that place is consistently busy. And you got to give credit where credit is due because they're they're churning out pizzas,
All right.
at a pretty high rate.
We have we've gone longer than the first show, Nick.
Did we really? Best laid plans. We did it to
It's
ourselves
pizza.
though.
It's
With
pizza.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we did it to ourselves. We kept adding things to the list. But I mean, it's pizza. You gotta give it full blast. Speaking of blast, hit us up, okay? This We're not doing this to be controversial, but we love the debate and we want to hear from you, and we're gonna talk about what you tell us, because we want to get as full a picture as we can. If we missed your favorite place, uh even if it's, listen, even we're concentrating on south of the Broad for the most part, okay? But even if it's a Buford spot or it's a Port Royal spot, I know there's a couple in Port Royal that we're probably going to hear about, but yeah, let us know. We want to get the word out, okay? And by the way, I sounded like Christopher Walken a little bit there. I just watched. By the way, the SNL documentary on Peacock. I don't know if you're much of an SNL guy. There's a 4-part documentary about the
I've
50
heard about
years,
it.
and
Yeah.
they. It's not like this retrospective. They have specific things they're doing, and one of the episodes is specifically all about the cowbell sketch with Christopher Walken and Will Ferrell, and it is amazing what they do. They bring back guys from Blue Oyster Cult to talk about it. Oh my, that's a fun watch. It's like it's one of those things. Could they really do a documentary about a sketch? Yeah, they pulled it off. Um,
I'm not surprised.
One other thing that I will say, a couple of people hit me up about this, and Nick and I haven't even talked about this yet, so I don't hate me if I'm jumping any guns. But a couple folks have hit me up about like, can we sponsor the podcast? We haven't gotten there yet, folks. We haven't gotten there yet. It's a that's a tricky that's a tightrope that we're gonna have to figure out how to walk because, like we said, we don't want to appear like we're in anybody's pocket. But if I mean, listen, uh popular podcast get sponsored, and if you guys keep listening, it's probably a conversation Nick and I will have to have at some point, right?
You said it's
So
fluid.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
a blank slate. While we were recording this podcast, I got a text message from Antonio Albano that I mentioned before with AMA Private Dining. He said, I'd love to come on the pod. He's like, I'm not sure if, are you kidding? Like, of course, and you mentioned that,
When
several
we
weeks ago,
yeah, when we
having
first
some
talked
guests.
about it, I was like, let's have a chef on, and you made a great point. Listen, getting a chef on every week, that's a tall order. They got busy lives, so
Yeah,
pin a chef down for a half hour or an hour of a discussion. Yeah, not something we want to. You are 1,000% right about that in terms of not pinning that to every week. But hey, you want to come on and talk? Let's talk, right?
absolutely. And sponsors, like you said, we would have to unpack that and figure out a way for it to make sense. But that's pretty awesome. I didn't even know that. I'm glad that you surprised me with that because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was, like I said, I was blown away by the reception. Um, very humbled by it. I just want to appreciate everyone for taking the time out of their busy lives. I think this might be pretty well timed considering we have snow coming
the
tonight. I canceled
snowstorm.
my,
Yeah,
yeah, I
listen to
told
us
you,
tomorrow.
I canceled my dinner reservation, so I think people are going to have some free time. And I think you're on to something. That it's what we did with this episode, and I think it's what we'll continue to do moving forward. I think when we open up the podcast, we'll cover, what some of the feedback was that we got. I think that would be great to have a segment where we're not just talking about the news and notes, things that are
Yeah,
coming and going and whatever, but also, things that at the end of the day. I'll quote, Jalen Rose used to always say, you got to give the people what they want.
yeah,
So if we're giving you what you want, comment, tell us, you know, we're all ears. And if we're not, for whatever reason, given what you want, let us know. Comment, message us. The only thing that we ask you, as Tim has mentioned before, let's try to keep it positive. Lord knows we got enough negativity out there in all different walks of life, but the food, the dining, the indulgent islander of it all is, the goal is to enhance this experience. So if we could do that for you guys in some small way, we've done our job, and this will continue to grow and develop as we go. Thrilled with the way that it started off, and I couldn't be more, excited about what possibilities we have ahead of us because we have literally just scratched the surface.
we
We've
just
talked about
started, man.
sandwiches.
Yeah, yeah,
We've talked about sandwiches and pizza, and we have a lot of other categories to cover. And as we go, I'm sure, like you just said today, you just you just gave us another category to start working on, pubs and things like that. So anything that falls under the heading of food, beverage, you know, it's going to be incorporated at some point, and hopefully, we'll keep this going for a long time and have more than enough to keep us busy.
We're just looking to spread the love, man. Like I mentioned Pugsley Pizza. It was the dude was just um I think he put some special spices and probably smoked some of those as well. But Pug Sal from Pugsley Pizza was always like, pizza is love. Pizza is love, man. Pizza is love. Spread the love. So
That's ironically was that was the most recently opened pizza restaurant before I moved down here. A couple of years before I left, one of the women from one of the housewives programs on Bravo from the Bergen County area opened up a pizza restaurant in Wyckoff where I grew up called Pizza Love. And
nice.
it caught on very quick. And just like I told you about my mother's meatloaf, we used to call it meat love. Food is a universal language. Food is my love language. And Tim and I are going to continue to share
Yeah.
our love for food with you guys.
We're
We get it.
talking
We
it.
get
We want you to talk it. Let us know. And, just as a quick preview, we got food trucks coming up next week. Italian restaurants, comfort food, upscale dialing, barbecue joints. That's all kind of in the on deck circle as we start to spread our wings here a little bit with the Indulgent Islander podcast. Again, at Eat HHI is the Instagram feed for one Nick DeSimone and the Indulgent Islander. You see a lot of his videos. He's dropping content constantly, and that's the place for now where that's kind of the center of the universe. And you'll see the podcast out there and plenty of stuff to come with the Indulgent Islander. Excited to be a part of it, Nick, and I appreciate your time and appreciate your passion for it. You really you get me going, man. I my passion is passion, and so when you can start talking about that and the content thing can be a little solitary at times, so when we get on here and we start talking together, it just gets the creative juices flowing. So let's get at it, man.
Let's do it, man. We'll see you guys next week. Stay hungry, my friends.